I never thought a single morning could feel like a life sentence. The sun spilled its golden warmth across the kitchen, but the light couldn't reach me. My daughter, once so full of chatter and laughter, sat across the table with her eyes fixed on her phone. Her fingers tapped furiously, and her lips moved, but no sound came out to fill the air between us. I cleared my throat, hoping she'd look up, smile, call me mom, like she used to. Nothing. I asked again, a little louder this time. Are you okay? Still nothing. My heart clenched in a way I hadn't known was possible. Silence stretched between us like a canyon I couldn't cross. I had made a mistake. A single, careless mistake that now seemed to have pulled her out of my life, piece by piece. The memory hit me in waves. It was last spring, the day that changed everything. We were laughing in the living room, sharing a ridiculous movie, and I, in a moment of thoughtlessness, said something I thought was harmless. "You'll never understand the sacrifices I make for you," I said, laughing, but there was an edge to my voice, sharper than intended. She had paused mid-laugh, her eyes wide, shimmering with a hurt I hadn't noticed until that moment. I had meant it as a joke, a tease, but she didn't laugh. And that day, she stopped talking, not just to me, but to anyone who might ask me about her silence. I had underestimated the weight of my words. Days turned into weeks. The house grew cold with absence, the silence settling like dust on every surface. I would catch myself setting the table for two, only to remember she wouldn't answer when I called her. At night, I lay in bed imagining the conversations I would have had with her. My mistakes played on repeat. Why did I think my words were harmless? Why didn't I notice her hurt in that fleeting glance? I tried notes, small messages tucked under her pillow. I left flowers and her favorite snacks on her desk. Nothing. She wouldn't even meet my eyes. She had always been strong-willed, fiercely independent, but this silence, it was a wall, carefully constructed. Friends whispered that teenagers sometimes distance themselves, that this was normal. But every mother knows when something deeper is wrong, when your child's heart has recoiled from yours. I watched her grow colder in her room, immersing herself in music, books, and her own universe. Every attempt to reach her ended with a quiet rejection, a door softly closed, a phone screen ignored. I was invisible in my own home. One evening, I found myself standing at the edge of despair. I hadn't seen her smile in weeks. I hadn't heard her laugh. The house felt like a museum of memories we used to share, artifacts of a bond I had taken for granted. I remember sitting in the dark, sobbing silently, wishing I could rewind time, wishing I could undo that careless moment, that careless phrase that had caused her to build a fortress around her heart. Sometimes the smallest gestures can bridge the largest gaps. One afternoon, I sat down at the kitchen table with a cup of tea and a handwritten letter. I poured everything into it, apologies, confessions, fears, and love. "Mom, I can't just forget what you said," she wrote back 1 week later. Not a sentence, not a conversation, but a start. My heart leapt and shattered at the same time. She was still hurt, still distant, but there was a crack in the wall. The day she finally spoke to me again was ordinary. I was making dinner, humming softly, when I heard her voice behind me. "Mom?" I turned, breathless. There she was, hesitant but unmistakably her, looking at me with cautious hope. She paused. "I miss you." And just like that, the floodgates opened. Tears, apologies, and laughter mingled in a room that had known too much silence. Words we had lost for months returned, fragile but real. Rebuilding our bond wasn't instant. Trust once broken is like delicate glass. You can repair it, but the cracks remain, a reminder of the fragility of love. We talked about everything, my mistakes, her feelings, and the way forward. I listened more than I spoke, letting her know that her emotions were valid, that she mattered. We started small, movie nights, walks in the park, quiet talks over hot chocolate. Each moment, each laugh, each gentle touch reminded us that love, once strained, can be restored with patience and sincerity. I learned that day, and every day since, that words matter. One careless comment, one sharp phrase can fracture a relationship in ways you never imagined. I learned to listen, really listen, without judgment or interruption. And I learned that forgiveness, even when long overdue, is a gift you both give and receive. My daughter and I still have moments of tension, moments when the past whispers into the present, but we face them together now, stronger and more aware of the love that binds us. The silence that once defined our home has been replaced by conversation, laughter, and understanding. We have learned to cherish every word, every moment, every shared glance. Mistakes will happen again, life guarantees that, but the way we respond, the way we nurture trust, determines the strength of our bond. When my daughter stopped talking to me, it broke me in ways I never thought possible. But it also taught me that love is resilient, forgiveness is powerful, and connection, once lost, can always be reclaimed if you are willing to face the truth with an open heart. Now our home is filled with words, not silence, lessons, not regrets, and hope, always hope.